Titania was the queen of the fairies. There was Titania, and her husband was Oberon, her consort, Oberon. And now the story was that they had 4 princesses, 4 daughters, Iris, Ruby, Daphne and Pearl. So Sir Neville Wilkinson was a very big man. He was 7'2" in height, and he has a fascination for miniatures. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Small man, big man. He loved all miniature, small things. And he always would look out for little things, wherever he went. He was collecting little bits and pieces. And he thought maybe one day he might build a museum. But now he got married and settled down and had 2 children. And this was Sunday evening, and he took his little eldest daughter out for a walk through the woods where they lived at Mount Merrion Estate, Mount Merrion Estate in Dublin. They went out for this walk. And Miss Gwendoline, the little girl, she declared to her father that she saw this fairy disappear in through the roots of an old sycamore tree. And she asked her father, and he said yes. She said, I've seen a fairy. And he said yes, that was Queen Titania. And she said, why did she go down there? Well, he says, fairies are not fortunate people like us. They haven't got a home overground. So they keep all their treasures down underground. So she asked what were treasures, all nice things, he told her, all different things, all their rooms and all. And then she stopped. And she says, Father, do you think that you could make me a palace overground for the fairies to live in? So that I and all the people and children of the world would see how they keep their treasures. So he just smiled back to her and said no more. And she was 18 when he first presented it to her. And then it was only just a shell. It was only just made in a shell, a little house with all these different apartments. I suppose a little bit more, this room, about the size of this room maybe, that it just fit into. And so he went on to this famous cabinet maker in Dublin, James Hicks's Furniture. And they made all the outside for all of each room, each little compartment. And all his collections that he already had. And when he got going, he dedicated it to the sick, crippled and unhappy children of the world, irrespective of creed or colour. So wherever the palace was stated, the charities got the money there. And in 1956, I think it was, it had given over £80,000 to children's charities all over the world. United States, Buenos Aires, Newfoundland, Holland, New Zealand, Scotland, Wales, Australia, Canada, Northern Ireland and the Irish Free State. During the war years, it was in safekeeping in Cleary's in Dublin. I kept it there. And now they travel around a lot. And Sir Neville Wilkinson was a distant cousin of Lord Wicklow's of Shelton Abbey. And they used to come and stay there on and off. And they came this time anyhow, and he died in Shelton Abbey, Sir Neville Wilkinson. And now there was his cousin, Lord Wicklow, was still there. So now Sir Neville's wife fell in love with Lord Wicklow, and they got married. And he didn't live very long, a very short while, he died. She used to tell me how they'd go out into the woods and they had lots and lots of rhododendrons. And the rhododendrons would be covered in bees. And they'd be so drunk from the honey of the flowers, the bees would all fall off and fall on their on their bellies. And he used to go around with his stick turning them all up. He used to enjoy this turning up all the bees. But anyway, they got married and he died. And now with his first wife, there was one son, the Earl of Wicklow. And he was actually a Protestant minister. So he decided to travel the world to find the true religion. So he went all over the world. And one of the last places he came into was the Catholic Church. And what impressed him most was a little Blessed Sacrament lamp in front of the Blessed Sacrament. When he saw this is it. This is for me. So there and then he changed. He became a great Catholic. Oh, he was a wonderful Catholic. Did all things for charity. And he was a well-off man. He sold Shelton Abbey, got rid of it. First of all, they turned it into a hotel. And that didn't succeed very well. So he decided, no, I'll sell it. So he had a couple of shops over Dublin. He was a very well-off man. A lovely man, really. Lovely man. Met him a few times. Very, very nice. So anyway, eventually he took over, you see, Shelton Abbey then, and now poor Lady Wicklow, his stepmother, had to move. So she was lucky. She found out that Esmonds were letting their house in Ballynastragh. And this might be the real thing, because she wanted to get Titania's palace going again, get it out of storage and get it going. So she came over anyhow, and lo and behold, she rented the house from Sir John Esmond of Ballynastragh. They owned the house and they lived in Mount Merion, and they didn't much like the country. They much preferred the city. Anyway, Ballynastragh, we loaned this part of the country, a bit isolated, off the beaten track and different. So anyhow, she took the house, and as soon as she got settled in, she got Titania's palace. And let's say that would have been the early part of 47. Yeah, when she got settled up there. And there was 1,000 a week came, 1,000 a week. Not so much cars at that time, there wasn't so many cars about. The doctor, the priest, solicitor maybe, 3 or 4 people. Those all had a car at that time. But few would come from Dublin and further afield. I met all sorts of people down there. All nationalities, Germans, English, Americans, Scottish, all sorts. And to be fair, I think the best man was the Englishman. He was a gentleman, he was a great man. But I wasn't so keen on the Americans. They were kind of meanish kind of people. They were different. But a good Englishman, you won't beat him. But anyway, we had 1,000 a week. And everything was going very well until Lady Wicklow got sick herself. She would go to England every year for a purse giving to the Queen. And she would be there for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And of course, unfortunately, I was the one who was in charge. I don't know why I had to take it on, but I wouldn't do it. It was a fierce, responsible job, because you had all this money coming in every day. And what to do with it was the next thing. But thank God things weren't as bad as they are now. You know, you could leave a door open maybe or whatever, but it wouldn't be the same today. But anyhow, she come back this time from the holidays, and her legs were very swollen. They were really, really bad. So she got to the doctor anyhow, and he got her in touch with a doctor from Vincent's Hospital in Dublin. And they took her into Vincent's. And that's where she died. Yeah. So now Titania's palace was there. And what to do next was the next thing. Her daughter, now, who saw the fairy, was now a state registered nurse in Wiltshire. Actually, she was the assistant matron of a very big, large nursery. And her and the matron. And she didn't want it. Her interest, she said, was over there, but mother's interest is here. So she wouldn't come. But there was also, there's not much mention of it, but there was such a thing as the tiny craft people, tiny craft. And they had some little share in it or whatever, something anyhow to do with it. And once after I got there, this lady came from the tidy craft, and I and her cleaned all the silver. And the silver pieces were so small you couldn't use potter's, powder or any of that. What we did use was washing soda and boiling water to clean the silverware. With chamois, of course. Chamois and brush and shine and rub. But we did it. We took it in, to take a room today, another room, whenever. Generally, it was winter time because we were too busy in the summertime with people coming. 1,000 a week. But then when she died, so they sent it for auction, and I think it went to England. They said that Wexford, White's of Wexford, was the highest bidder in Wexford for it. But you see, money was very scarce in those days. It wasn't even in the banks. There was no money. So an Englishman bought it, kept it for a while, sold it again, and then I think was sold again. So finally these people bought it, whereas it is at the moment in Denmark, in Legoland in Denmark. It's in a big castle now, and a few people around have been to see it and quite well pleased with it. Yes, it's beautiful.
How did you perfect your storytelling? Were you a tour guide there, were you?
I was.
That's why I was wondering.
Yeah. Well, see, there were so many people. Yeah. Those crowds came, and we were expected to bring them around and show different things. We couldn't show them everything, but it was odd little pieces we could pick out and point to, The first time I went myself, Lady Whitler came round behind me. I was a little lady, how I got there in the first place. And I had my niece with me. And she was only a little child. And you see, there was a barrier. It was about a foot wide. And the small children could sit on that and you pushed them all around. There was one lot of rooms from the bottom up to about here. And then the next one came from here up. And I could push her along, little Jane. And I was going along anyhow, and Lady Whitley puts in her hand across, with about a dozen rings on it. And the jewellery, I couldn't tell you what it was like round her neck. Anyhow, and she says to me, "Do you see that little ship there? That's a model of the Golden Hind. One of Drake's ship, built in 1580 in Nuremberg in Germany." And she says, "Guess? The sails are made from tissue paper and the rigging is human hair." That was just one thing. So I kept going. It was all rooms all the way along, and until I came to the last one. And she came to me at the last room again. And she showed me the throne room. And she told me all about this bit that was bought on the quays in Dublin, which was priceless. And Sir Neville had it cut down to exactly what he wanted. See, in those days, there was some old ladies along the quays, had their little businesses in Dublin, and didn't even know what pieces were worth, had no idea. They were just glad to get anything maybe for bits. And he, of course, he knew the difference, all right. He knew what was fairly good and what wasn't. So anyhow, I picked this bit out. And that was the bit she pointed to me, but there was cannon guns in the foreground as well. And there was lions, and there was so much things there to see, lots more. But that was the one thing she pointed to me.
Yeah. When did it leave Gorey? When did it leave here?
It left here in, what I think now, 57. About 67 or something like that now, I think.
In the mid-60s.
Mid-60s, yeah, 66 or 67, somewhere there, yeah.